Once again, we want to wish everybody a very happy Valentine's Day from all of us here at Comcast Sportsnet. Glad you're joining us tonight for a CAA showdown at the top between George Mason and VCU, a one-point ball game at the half. Al Koch and Ron Thompson back with you. It's the half that we expected, and we saw VCU kind of get off to a good early start behind some terrific play from point guard Darius Theus.
Darius really set the tone early on in this game. You know, he was getting to the basket. He was setting guys up. Defensively, he really got after it early, getting some steals to set the tone for exactly how VCU wanted to play tonight.
Well, let's take a look at the highlights that begin with Darius Theus and those penetrations and offensive opportunities that he created with his great quickness.
What's tough about Darius is he thoroughly understands tempo and pacing from the point guard position. As you saw right there, he totally negotiated the pick and roll right here, baseline out of bounds, makes the right decision, makes the proper pass in that situation. And early on, I thought that he gave VCU their swagger, Al. He gave them the confidence that you need when you go on the road fighting for first place.
And particularly when you go on the road and have to face this man.
Oh, Pearson is just such a tough guard because he can give it to you in so many ways. He can put the ball on the deck. He's incredibly strong and crafty on the block. But this guy right here, I thought, did an excellent job. Brian Allen's at setting the pace, setting the tempo, attacking the basket, not settling for jump shots. Right here, you see they make the extra pass along the perimeter. Bertrell Vaughns hit 2 big-time threes to close out the first half, which gave them the lead that they had by 1.
We take a look at our stats. The turnovers, George Mason committed a lot early, but protected the basketball pretty well as the half went on.
They did. Paul Hewitt has to be pleased with where they are right now, holding VCU to only 13% from behind the arc at shooting 2 for 13. And that's part of their offensive weapon. VCU wants to get that number up slightly higher. And as you see, 21 rebounds versus 16 for VCU. George Mason has the edge on the boards. The little things that they did to close out the first half gave them this one-point lead.
So Ryan Pearson with 10 points to lead the way for George Mason. How will VCU answer? Rod Brandenburg had a very good first half. There's more in store. We'll get you back to Fairfax after this. Welcome back to Fairfax, Virginia, getting ready to start the second half. But before we do, we have a chance to visit with VCU coach Shaka Smart. Shaka, you created a lot of turnovers against George Mason early, but they protected the basketball pretty well late. How do you get back to getting that rhythm again?
Well, if we can make some shots so we can get in the press and try to get after them there, we got to be more sound in transition. Can't give them any easy shots.
Coach, I thought early on, Darius Theus did an excellent job at setting the tempo, setting the pace, both defensively as well as offensively for how you guys want to play.
Yeah, he did. The pace was more to our liking earlier in the half than it was at the end of the half. It got a little bogged down. We got to do a good job in the second half getting the game going.
Shaka, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, guys.
So Darius Theus is going to be a key. We thank Shaka Smart and Paul Hewitt for joining us here. All the coaches have been so cooperative on both the men's and women's side throughout our CAA broadcasts all year. Paul Hewitt begins the half with a one-point lead in the basketball. Mike Morrison drives against Haley. No, can't get it to go as Mike Morrison only 1 point in that first half.
Yeah, Mike's going to have to pick it up. Only 1 point, only 2 rebounds. He's got to get more involved in this game.
Reddick, also another guy who's been relatively quiet, as he has just 2 points in the pivot. Here's a 3 for Pearson. The attempt for the steal. Reddick tries again. Bodies hitting the deck. Reddick does a great job to save it and give a new shot clock that Theus will take only a few seconds before finding Haley, who wasn't ready for it and couldn't get the Snowbird to go.
On the road, fighting for first place, Haley's got to finish that. The pass was perfect, right on it, right in stride. He just had to put it in.
Not going to get a better look than that at inside position. So both sides start this second half a little cold. Pearson. They kick it around. Cornelius finds Pearson again just inside the free throw line. Nothing working on either side. Here's Bradford Burgess turning the corner. His pull-up first bucket of the second half puts VCU back on top. That is now 7 for Bradford Burgess, the senior from Midlothian, Virginia. Another senior attacking at the other end, and Pearson starts out 0 for 3 this half. Reddick fighting for position against Morrison inside, and he'll get the second personal foul called against Mike Morrison. Rod Brandenburg, Ron, who had a very active first half, is a quick check-in for Haley. So they take 7 feet out and bring a very active sophomore and Brandenburg in.
Yeah, Brandenburg was active on the defensive end and certainly got it going offensively.
Two-man game between Daniels and Burgess. Daniels, it's a 2. Now Morris, or Timmy Pearson trying to break the trap himself. Theus almost had the steal. 5 points and 7 rebounds.
If he can get, if Morrison,
Daniels.
Yeah, Daniels, if Pearson can get Morrison to come along with him just a bit, this game would be totally, totally different right now.
They are such a 1-2 punch, but we mentioned Mike Morrison just has not gotten going offensively the last couple of games. He may be a little fatigued, and again a foul on Morrison, and that will send him immediately to the bench as Eric Copes hops up. Morrison now picking up 2 fouls this half, 3 for the game, and the freshman Copes must come in for the senior, Mike Morrison.
Yes, good call, I think, by Paul Hewitt. Give him a blow, get himself. He's not into the game at all, mentally or physically right now. Regroup and try to come back and give these guys a push here with 17 minutes to go.
He was plagued by foul trouble against UNC Wilmington the last outing, where he had only 5 points. He's only had 2 double-figure games in 2 of the last 8, as again inside it's that man Brandenburg.
Brandenburg has really come to play today. You know, defensively he's known as a guy that gets after, but offensively today he's really turned it up just a bit.
He was scoreless against Old Dominion after having nearly double-figure numbers of the previous 5. Ice cold are the Patriots to start this half. They have yet to score. Trevion Graham in and out for the freshman. Played over 3.5 minutes, and George Mason is yet to connect from the field or the foul line. They are 0 of 5 this half. Pearson looking to change all that. Runs into a wall, and there he's going to get a timeout by a very agitated Paul Hewitt, who doesn't like the way his offense looks. So we step aside. Ryan Pearson and company had a halftime lead of 1. Shaka Smart, and the Rams have changed all that. VCU trailed by 1 at the half. They've come out of the locker room on fire. 33-28 is the advantage, and Ron, that means George Mason has not gotten anything going. What has been missing as you see it from their offense?
Well, first of all, you have to give a lot of credit to the job VCU has done defensively. But what they've done is they forced George Mason into a situation where it's a lot of one-on-one. They're not taking the ball from side to side, and the first or second person that receives a pass is looking for a shot.
Sherrod Wright tried to push it into Copes, got it back and hits. So Sherrod Wright ends a 4-minute and 3-second drought with the first field goal of the half.
That's why Paul Hewitt called the timeout. Fellas, let's get a good shot. Let's work this offense, and let's try to be as efficient as possible.
Now a whistle by Brian Kersey. And we're going to get a foul on Rod Brandenburg of VCU. Another timeout on the floor. Finally, George Mason has gotten on track this half. They're down by 3. Shaka Smart, VCU up by 3, 33-30 over George Mason. Take a look at the other action. It's all completed tonight from earlier games of the CAA. Old Dominion, Georgia State, and Delaware, Ron, stay in contention for one of the top 4 seeds, which is so vital for the upcoming tournament. And as hot as VCU is, no team in the conference is hotter than Drexel, although they had a scare tonight from William and Mary.
When you take a look at the schedule in the CAA, the margin for error is so slim. As you see, a backlog at the top, 3 teams with only 2 losses in this league.
Bruiser, Flint, and Drexel now winning their 14th straight game, but William and Mary made them work for it. They did the Tribe by 1 with 2 minutes left, and Drexel pulls out the victory. No team has ever won a CAA tournament having to play 4 games in 4 nights. So getting that first round bye, so critical. Pearson inside, and Brandenburg fouls him. Ryan Pearson a chance to tie this game.
Al, when you talk about a grown man basket, that's what this was. Pearson's on the baseline, spins towards the baseline using the other side of the rim. Excellent move. That's big time right there.
That is. And Brandenburg now picks up his 2nd personal, and 2nd on the Rams. Ryan Pearson trying to make it a 13-point performance, but can't tie the game from the line.
Pearson is doing a good job, I think, Al, at not settling for jump shots. He's trying to get closer, trying to put the officials in a situation where they have to make a call. He'll make those free throws 9 times out of 10.
Trevion Graham works his way in, and he traveled as he lost control of the basketball. Give some credit to Eric Copes, number 4. Shaka Smart sees his freshman travel, going head-to-head with the big center out of Philadelphia that George Mason has, and Eric Copes. And there's a little conversation, coach to freshman.
Now, VCU, they're going with their man-to-man full-court press. They look to run and jump. Sometimes they look to run and trap. Mason just has to be as solid as they can. There's a trap right there.
And it's turned over. And a foul by Brian Allen after the turnover that he committed.
When you're bringing the ball up court against VCU, you don't want to turn your back to the ball. And that's the mistake that Allen made. Came up the sideline, his back, he tries to spin right before he can get all the way around. Burgess is right there for the steal.
Ron, I've heard your dad say so many times that defense is not a one-man act. There you saw Briante Weber turn the man back to where that trap was coming from.
Exactly, and that wasn't an accident. That is almost a play within a defense. You try to turn the defense, the offense, get him to turn his back, and your man comes and runs and jumps.
Theus, the extra pass, and the power finish. Haley wasn't going to miss this one.
No doubt about it. Theus got all the way in the paint and damn near just about handed it off to him. There's no way he could have missed that.
4 assists now for Darius Theus. At the other end, it's Copes, and he put a little too much on it. Brandenburg going down, fouled by Bertrail Vaughns. Rod Brandenburg has been a thorn in the side of Paul Hewitt tonight as we take another look at the action at the other end.
Things starting to heat up just a bit. Both teams getting after it defensively. That time Bertrail Vaughns thought he had all ball. Got him just a bit on the elbow.
A great look from our Comcast Sportsnet crew. We thank all the men and women who certainly have probably irritated a few spouses by being with us tonight, but we can't thank them enough for the tremendous work they do for us all year long and on this big game tonight in Fairfax, Virginia.
How many sets of about tonight, Al? I just want to know. How many sets?
FTD knows the number by heart. The lead is 4 for VCU. Brandenburg now with 9 points. And a blocking foul against Briante Weber.
Have to like the action by George Mason now. Paul Hewitt has told the guys, don't settle for jump shots. Everyone is trying to inch their way and get closer to the basket and force VCU to play defense in the half court. See, if you take early jump shots in the shot clock, that bails VCU out defensively. They don't have to guard you. If you miss, then they're off to the races. VCU wants a lot of possessions in this game. Mason wants slightly less.
Blocked cleanly. Brandenburg knocked it away from Vaughns, and here come the Rams again. They reward Brandenburg, and Copes, one of the best shot blockers in the conference, with a monster rejection.
You've got maximum effort out on both ends of the court. Excellent effort that time, I thought, by VCU, by Rob Brandenburg, and then excellent block on the opposite end by Copes. Both guys, both teams giving it up. Copes, the big fella, says, not today.
He had 7 blocks in the first half in a game against Drexel earlier this year before getting hurt. Phoenix pulls up before he has to face Mr. Copes. And away with the basketball comes Sherrod Wright. Quick move by Allen. Finds Pearson. That's rejected by Reddick. Weber. The lead, and Copes has got another.
The big fella's working today, Al. He's running the floor, giving second, third efforts. To have a guy Copes' size, 6'8", 250, changing ends on the floor the way he is incredible.
They've called a foul on the play. Copes with the block.
Couldn't get the puppies back in bounds, but he's changing ends. He's running 2 consecutive times. VCU thought they had an easy layup, and Copes erased it with the block.
So now we're going to have official Roger Ayers head to the scorer's table to take another look at the replay. It's a 4-point game. The referees want to see if the ball hit the rim or not. So we will show some replays to them. Shaka Smart taking advantage of this stoppage to discuss strategy.
Let's take a look at it and see. No.
Clean.
Good block. Clean block.
We've had 4 blocks, Ron, in the last minute and a half of action. Our crack statistician, Marty Aronoff, informs us, and we talk about Copes. Here's a man who missed after that performance against Drexel, where he then got injured, coming down after a block. He missed 5 games and has been pretty much a big-time lately for Paul Hewitt. Off the bench for George Mason. Copes averaging 4.8, 4.2 rebounds in the 5-game since, but we know his mark is shot blocking.
Copes is a big-time recruit. He was top 50 coming out of high school last year. If it weren't for Morrison and Pearson being in the game, he would be starting from top to bottom.
Take another look. Hits the glass. Copes has it. We don't see it hit any rim.
If the officials are looking to see if it hit the rim, it did not hit the rim.
So they're going to give 29 seconds. So there was no personal foul, but 29 seconds now to shoot for VCU off the inbounds.
Copes' future is very, very, very bright. When Morrison and Pearson graduate, that's his position. He'll play until his tongue drops, and you'll see all of the things that he can do. Offensively, he has a lot in his package as well around the basket.
His uncle, Rowan Houston, one of the top assistants for Paul Hewitt. Burgess off the inbounds. No. Copes got a little piece of that second chance. So Eric Copes making his presence felt. Had originally committed to George Washington University, where Roland Houston was an assistant coach with Carl Hobbs. But when that coaching staff changed, Roland Houston came here with Paul Hewitt. And now Eric Copes is here in Fairfax, Virginia, and going to have a big career in the CAA. Big-time bucket for 3 by Troy Daniels.
Have to find Troy Daniels in transition. He has the green light to shoot it if it looks good. That's what he does.
The lead is 7 off a kick ball called by referee Jeff Clark. VCU on this run to pump up the lead. Daniels has got 8 points to go along with 8 rebounds. So some great work on the board from an unexpected source.
Definitely.
Pretty play inside. Sherrod Wright with a good finish. Corey Edwards, who was a real factor in that first half, into the game and comes up with a key assist, but also picks up a foul right here. As you see another look at a great play by Corey Edwards. Good feed for the Sherrod Wright finish. Reddick has trouble with it. Lost it. It stays here with VCU.
This is one of those games that you have to be strong with the ball on both ends of the court. VCU as well as Mason, each possession they're clawing for the ball. They're not just playing defensive, safe defensively. They're trying to get the ball each and every possession.
Weber, the inbounds, is chased down by Daniels, so he resets. 25 to shoot for the Rams. Burgess, who's been relatively quiet this half. Daniels hasn't, and another three for Troy Daniels.
Daniels is warming up, and the shots that he's taking are 2 and 3 steps behind the and Mason is acting as though they don't think he's going to take it, and he's raising up, letting it go. His is in the building. Troy Daniels, once his foot steps inside an arena, he's within his range.
A 38.5% three-point shooter. Sherrod Wright is feeling it. Rolling around and out. An offensive board by Pearson.
I thought it was a good no call that time by the officials. A lot of bodies flying around. Just let that one go.
Here is a whistle as whacked from behind was a Ram player. Daniels got hit, and we'll get some action when we come back. So Troy Daniels back-to-back threes. He has let the lead get stretched out to 8 for VCU. Virginia Commonwealth University has stormed out to their largest lead of the night, 42-36 over George Mason. Would be no surprise if these two teams met each other in the finals of the CAA tournament, and you can catch all the action of the 2012 Virginia 5-9 CAA Men's Basketball Championship that takes place March 2nd through the 5th at the Richmond Coliseum. Log on to CAAsports.com for more details. Al Koch and Ron Thompson back with you in Fairfax, Virginia on a Valentine's Day that has got a lot of ramifications on how this tournament and the seedings will shake out. Two of the top teams in the conference square away for the first time this year. How unusual is that, Ron, to see just barely 2 weeks left in this season and the first meeting of two takes place so late in the year.
Competition level is so stiff in this league, as you see right there. Reddick going strong
wow.
to the basket, but the margin for error this time of year, when you're trying to march, when you're trying to get ready for postseason play, is so slim. Coaches get a little bit tighter, players get a little bit tighter, practice is a little bit more intense as Reddick goes in. Coach a little late on the rotation as he gets the foul. So you have to lock in. Now is when you want to play well, and coaches know that. Playing well early isn't that important. When you start to get to February, March, you got to be rolling.
Well, this is a tough back-to-back stretch for Shaka Smart and company. They had to go into Norfolk to take on a very difficult Old Dominion team in a tough barn. And now they head on the road to Fairfax in another tough building to win in. And right now, the advantage. It's a 9-point lead. They've got 8, 44-36. Almost turned over again. Theus does as a part of that off Sherrod Wright.
VCU's pressure, both half and full, is just like a gnat just flying around your face in the summertime. It just irritates you, and it just keeps coming and coming, and you just get physically worn down and mentally worn down from dealing with their pressure.
The style is called wreaking havoc. Shaka Smart brought it to Richmond, Virginia 3 years ago. It got the Rams into the Final Four of the NCAA tournament last year. Remember, this George Mason University was able to celebrate a similar Final Four appearance in 2006. Reddick, the catch, can't get it to go. And there's Morrison back in the game with a key rebound. Mike Morrison playing with 3 personal fouls as we approach the 10-minute mark of the second half. Ryan Pearson active and gets some free throws.
Again, action going toward the basket, not settling for jump shots, trying to attack, trying to put the officials in a situation where they have to make a call. Pearson squares up, fakes the 3, then puts it on the deck and says, I'm going to the line.
That spin move is so difficult because he's got range, as we know, and you have to respect it all. But when he gets that little position That spin move is leaving.
Well, his change of direction is so solid and so efficient that most big guys that are guarding him can't change the direction at the pace that he does offensively.
14 points for Ryan Pearson, but just 2 of 4 from the free throw line. Has one more coming right now. Got that. 15-point night. He's 1 rebound away from yet another double-double. Ryan Pearson has been racking them up as of late. He's been in double figures now 24 of 28 games. A miss, a rebound, a break. Edwards. Pearson the rebound. Got it. So there's where you get your double-double now, and Ryan Pearson with 17 as the lead is down to 5. Daniels another long three. This was halfway down and popped back out.
Good set that time. They know that Daniels is feeling it right now, so Shaka's running every other for him to see if he can keep knocking down those threes.
Ryan Pearson is about the only flaw in his game tonight has been those attempts from three-point range. Phoenix tries to turn the corner. Gets it inside. Over the top is Redick. Another too-long chance for Redick, who only has 4 points this evening.
Solid defense on the inside. George Mason.
The sophomore from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Redick, just 1 of 8 from the field. Comes in averaging 10.5 a contest. Pearson off a nice lob pass from Corey Edwards.
Catch, but an even better pass that time by Edwards. He put it right in the soft spot, and he caught it in traffic. He had bodies in front of him and behind him. Good team around.
So Ryan Pearson's keeping George Mason in it, but he's had to play a lot of catch-up because Troy Daniels has been on fire from behind the arc.
Troy has been in the absolute zone, and VCU has recognized it, and they're calling his number. They go inside out. Again, bam, from the outside. He can put it on a jet. He's not just a shooter, but here we are in transition. No one gets to Daniels. He lets it go again for 3. Again, curling around the outside, or step or 2 behind the arc. George Mason's bigs don't step out and get him, and he knocks down another. He has picked up in the second half where Burgess left off in the first half. George Mason, on the other hand, they have anyone to come along with a Ryan Pearson.
Nice numbers to go along with those three-point performers with the 8 rebounds. And Ron, one of the things you love is when conference play turns, you need your players to really rise. Troy Daniels shooting better in conference play from behind the arc, over 40% in the previous 15 CAA games. That's a big-time performance.
And when you have your shooter getting 8 rebounds a game, from a coaching standpoint, you run a few more plays for him to get a few more shots, because he's not just spending money, he's saving you some too by getting on the boards.
So Daniels gets a breather. Haley is back in, as is Trevion Graham. This is Bradford Burgess. If he would ever get a out night for VCU, but Burgess right now stuck on 7 points.
Right now, with Ryan Pearson not in the Mason has to figure out where and how they're going to manufacture their points, as Mike Morrison gets a charge right there on the block.
And that is his 4th. He is frustrated. They're trying to cool the senior from St. Petersburg, Florida, down, as he knows Paul Hewitt has got to put him right back on the bench. 7:50 to go. Paul Hewitt looks up and sees the deficit down to 3, but sees his senior big man on the pine with 4 personals.
Get your
It's their team. I'm just here to provide direction and set the course. Let these guys understand how good they can be. Sometimes as a coach, you believe in your players more than individually they believe in themselves. And you're dealing with 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. So I know I look back to when I was that age, and I was far from fully formed. So that's really my role, is to help these guys understand where they can be if they keep working.
A very humble Shaka Smart. And Ron, one of the things he does provide is that defensive leadership, and they have forced the Mason guards into a tough night.
And when you have a coach that understands that and thoroughly understands his ball club, he then knows what buttons to push, when to step on the gas, when to let off, which buttons to push with his players individually. And when you find a coach that is able to connect with his guys, you usually have a coach success.
On that last possession, Trevion Graham picks up his third personal foul and extends the VCU shooting woes. No field goals now for over the last 4 minutes and 20 seconds. However, miscommunication between Ron Gray and Eric Copes has another turnover. 15 overall for Mason. Three-point game, cold shooting. And now another whistle on the inside, and this looks like it's going to be against Bradford Burgess, as a very frustrated Shaka Smart has some words for Roger Ayers. 2 possessions straight now where offensive fouls have been called against the Rams.
Exactly, and but what you see is the defensive intensity and picking up by George Mason. VCU in turn getting just a little bit on the offensive end.
Burgess has 3 personals. Allen had it blocked on the way up. The rebound, put back, and free throws coming from Sherrod Wright.
Have to love the second and third effort that time by George Mason. Wright didn't give up on the play, crashed the old boards, got the offensive rebound, and then went right back up on the basket strong. Now, if George Mason could be a little bit more effective and efficient in their half-court offense and start to knock down some shots, they'll be in a good place.
Sherrod Wright picking up the first of his 2 free throws. By the way, that is now 16 fouls on VCU. Mason with 8. So we could be approaching that time with 7:02 to go, where free throw shooting will have a lot to say in what could be momentarily a 1-point basketball game. That's the man you want shooting free throws. Sherrod Wright leads the CAA at 86% from the stripe. And George Mason in the last 3 minutes and 4 seconds on a 7-0 run that is a single-digit game.
And give George Mason's defense the credit. You know, they've locked in, forced turnovers. They've disrupted VCU the last 4 minutes. It's a game of cycles. It's a game of momentum. Now VCU get advantage back.
Tough catch inside by Graham. Copes makes it a one and done. Allen surveys, backs it out. Here's his coach, Paul Hewitt. Direct traffic. Avoids the Reddick trap. Vertrail Vaughns, a 3, and Mason is back in the lead.
Couldn't have come at a better time. VCU had been somewhat cold from long range, but you knew it wasn't going to be long until Vertrail Vaughns got back in the play. Right there, I thought it was an excellent job that time by Paul Hewitt. He called that set play from the sideline. They were getting ready to get into some other action. He pulled it back out and said, no, run this certain play, and Vertrail Vaughns knocks it down.
Remember, it was Vertrail Vaughns with back-to-back threes at the end of the first half that gave Mason the lead by 1 at the half, and now he's got him back on top by 2.
Excellent job that time by Brian Allen, coming off the high ball screen, giving it to the shooter right in his shooting pocket, so he didn't have to reach left, he didn't have to reach right. It was right where he needed it to knock down that tray ball.
The run you see Mason is on as VCU has gone cold. Mason has stoked up the offensive and defensive pressure. And an interesting long conversation going on between Shaka Smart and official Jeff Clark. This has been going on now for the last 20, almost 25 seconds.
But you got to love the jockeying. You know, as a coach, you fight for inches. Shaka knows he's on the road. He may be planting a seed now for something that he may want the officials to take a look at later on, as this game is definitely going to come down to the wire.
No field goals for VCU. In the last 5, nearly 5.5 minutes.
Excellent job that time by Coach. He could have taken that jump shot, wisely threw it back out to try to get a good offensive set in.
So off the turn, Allen tries to get a bucket. Back up is Paris Bennett, and he's got free throws approaching. And now a little physical play inside that the officials step in quickly. See Troy Daniels, we see Brian Allen discussing things. Roger talking to the VCU players. Brian Kersey, Jeff Clark talking to the Mason squad.
Things getting a little testy, you know, but you gotta love it. Two teams playing hard. They're just getting after it. Great job by the officials settling things down.
What Valentine's Day? Paris Bennett, who supplied some good play. A big man who doesn't get a lot of minutes. A sophomore from Linden, New Jersey, can't hit on the first one, but at 6'6", 226, has some size and do a little damage inside, and he's been effective in his moments tonight here for Paul Hewitt.
Without a doubt. He stepped in. He's got 4 big rebounds tonight. Done a very, very good job at holding down the fort until Ryan Pearson can get back in there.
And get some appreciation by the senior Pearson and this large crowd at the Patriot Center.
Brian Allen employing the George Mason fans to stand up and give him just a little bit more of a boost.
The Bennett free throw makes it an 11-0 George Mason run. Allen giving Daniels very little room to launch that three. Theus with the shot clock to 10. To the basket. Yes! There's that man, Darius Theus.
First half, he got it done. Second half, when they needed a bucket, who else would you expect it tonight? He's done a great, great job at controlling the tempo.
And that is the first field goal for VCU in the last 6.5 minutes. Graham and contact made with Pearson. Jeff Clark was right there. Elected not to make a call to the disbelief of Paul Hewitt. Vaughn's tough inside. That was partially blocked. And a good rebound by Brad Burgess. Ahead for Trevion Graham. He'll go to the free throw line.
You can't relax on either end of the court. Mason had a missed basket. VCU's pushing it right down the gut right thereafter. This is one of those games, Al, that, again, on makes, on misses, both of these ball clubs will take the break. They aggressively look to push the ball offensively, so transition defense is paramount.
The first of 2 for Trevion Graham ties the game at 47. Briante Weber about to check back into the game. He's coming in for Graham after these free throws if there's a stoppage. Daniels gets a breather with Brandenburg the returning. Good foul shooting for Graham to give VCU the lead again. He will rest. Briante Weber, as mentioned, checks in. Copes goes out. Paris Bennett remains in the game. Remember, Mike Morrison has got 4 personal fouls, 9 team fouls. So the next foul against George Mason and shooting 2 will be VCU. Wright. Pearson pulls up. Brandenburg tips it into the hands of Burgess, who needs some help, and gets it from Brandenburg. Weber looking inside for Reddick. It's picked off by the Patriots. Here is Allen for the finish.
Again, Al, transition defense is key. If you hit a shot or turn it over, you have to get back against both of these ball clubs.
Mason jumps into the lead off the Brian Allen layup. Sherrod Wright picks up that pretty assist. Theus again pulls up. Back of the iron into the hands of Bertrell Vaughn. And this time, Paul Hewitt doesn't let his Patriots have the first 7 seconds of the shot clock. He tells them to slow it down and set the offense up. Allen almost traveled as he and Pearson were close to getting their signals mixed. Here is Ryan Pearson. Yes! Points, 11 rebounds for Ryan Pearson. Burgess has been quiet, but not now. Knocks down a big 3, and that takes us to the timeout, tied at 51 all.
One thing for certain tonight, we are in a war. Both sides are getting after it. Pearson on one end, and then on the other end, Troy Daniels. Gotta love it.
Burgess's second field goal of this half was a 3 to deadlock the game once again. Take a look at Pearson at the other end of the floor.
Pearson slips the ball screen, goes for the reverse. Again, on the made basket, VCU comes down, looks for the quick hitter, knocks it down from the perimeter.
You talk about transition defense and offense turned into. How about this play from Wright to Allen?
Both sides of the ball. VCU that time didn't get back in transition. George Mason took advantage of it and had the opportunity to break. Right now, Brian Allen is cramping up on the side. They're trying to work it out. Looks like it's in his calf. They got him a sub out. They're going to try to get him some fluids and hopefully try to get him back in.
And that means Corey Edwards will return. Part of the great atmosphere here in Fairfax, Virginia. 3:20 to go. A deadlock at 51 all.
They're taking Brian Allen. No, that looks like they were taking him to the back, but he's sitting at the end of the bench on the floor. They're trying to stretch it out. Looks like a cramp. They're going to have to try to get him some fluids.
So he has been a critical performer in this game.
He's been steady, been very, very steady in this game, especially dealing with VCU's fresh.
However, we have liked what we have seen from Corey Edwards. The freshman has not played like a freshman. He's had some big moments, and he's going to be called on here into the teeth of this VCU defense. And we got a whistle. A timeout by Paul Hewitt as he saw that trap attacking his freshman point guard.
He knows his team very well. He saw Edwards is a little small, had 2 guys on him with the third one coming. He said, look here, I'm not going to gamble. We're tie score right now. Each and every possession is important. So he called a quick timeout.
One thing Paul Hewitt has to contend with, not only does he have Mike Morrison in foul trouble personally with 4, but the next foul will be 10 against his Patriots, as you see Brian Allen now trying to get that cramp worked out by the George Mason medical staff. You know, it's nice to get a massage on Valentine's Day, but I don't think that's what Brian Allen had in mind.
Trust me, he doesn't want a massage because of a cramp. I can tell you that right now. He would much rather be back out here in this game trying to help his ball club.
So the Patriots will inbound with Sherrod Wright doing the honors into the hands of Corey Edwards. And he'll work it up against Briante Weber. Freshman against freshman. Almost a little kick by Weber. Morrison's checked back into the game. Little pull up. No. Tapped out by Ryan Pearson into the hands of Sherrod Wright. A new shot clock for George Mason.
That time George Mason just wanted it a little bit more than VCU on that last possession.
Morrison trying to set the screen for his freshman point guard. Now Edwards reverses everything. Paul Hewitt barking out instructions. Edwards finds Vaughns. Vertrail Vaughns. Morrison got the offensive board. Reddick tried to pounce it off him. And did it work? Yes. Pretty sharp move by Javante Reddick. And he will give VCU the possession of a dead-even game when we come back for the stretch run in Fairfax, Virginia between VCU and Georgia.
You know, these type of games usually comes down to who makes the effort play. It may not be the prettiest of basketball at the time when you get late February or mid to late February and it's in conference play and you're the thick of the conference season. Everybody knows everybody really well. So it's going to be a loose ball. It's going to be, you know, something that bangs off the backboard and the guy just picks it up and drops it in. But it's going to be an effort play that makes a difference.
Some possible foreshadowing and a prediction from Paul Hewitt, the head coach at George Mason University.
It's a game of inches, Al. At this time of year, you have two teams fighting for first place, two teams that know each other like they know the back of their hand. You know, there are no surprises in a game like this on either side. And when you have two teams that are very compatible in numerous ways, it usually comes down to something small, a tip in, a missed box out, a made free throw.
Ron, we talked about Shaka Smart leading VCU into the Final Four last year. Paul Hewitt, a championship game coach in 03-04 with Georgia Tech. So two top flight coaches going head-to-head here as we have 2:15 left to go. And a deflection that sends the ball out of bounds with 22 seconds to go for George Mason.
Guards, forwards, centers on both ball clubs, you have to come and meet the ball with two hands because both teams are so aggressive defensively.
Correct that. That's VCU with the basketball with 22 seconds to go. Still no Brian Allen in the contest. We do see Troy Daniels back in the game. He inbounds the basketball, and Theus, who is a top-flight late game performer. He had 8 of his 14 points in the final 2 minutes on Saturday against Old Dominion. Here's Burgess, the kick out for Daniels. No. And a tough rebound by Vertrail Vaughns.
Daniels had a good look. Definitely had a good look.
Edwards closed out momentarily and turns it over into the hands of Daniels. A mistake by the freshman.
That's when the cramp by Brian Allen really comes into play. You have a freshman, you know, that comes into the game versus Brian Allen, a guy that's been through the wars, understands.
Big shot Brad, they call him. Bradford Burgess buries a three, and that is the margin that VCU goes up by with timeout on the floor and 1:17 to play.
It's not always how many shots you get, how many points you get, but when you get them. And your big-time players, Al, make big-time plays. Bradford Burgess is a big-time player. He's done it all season. He's done it here again. Behind the arc, lines up, knocks it down, gives VCU a 3-point lead with 1:17 to go.
After a quiet start to the second half, Bradford Burgess now with 13 points, and he has scored the last 6 VCU points. Ron, you know he's a man who's played so many minutes. This is his 138th start. He passes Stacey Augmon of UNLV for one of the 3rd longest streaks in NCAA history. It's the longest active streak going on in NCAA history, and he's just 5 starts away from surpassing a man you know very well, Patrick Ewing of Georgetown University, for the all-time consecutive start mark.
Interesting story about Burgess. He started the year off in a bit of a slump, not playing well. His mom called him and said, "Son, you're a senior, relax, you're playing at home in your hometown, enjoy yourself." And he's taken off from there.
Here is Brian Allen back into the contest at the critical moment as we have now exactly 1 minute to play in Fairfax, Virginia. Mason with the basketball, down 3. They have 10 seconds to shoot. Morrison, the kick to Allen. He's short on the jump shot. And the rebound goes to VCU's Briante Weber, who's grabbed by Morrison, and that is his 5th foul of the game.
Last possession, I thought that Brandenburg did an excellent job at contesting the shot. He didn't just go out to Allen with token pressure. He sincerely went after that ball, trying to deter him and get a block.
And Mike Morrison, Ron, leaves the game with only 1 point and 4 rebounds. That is a man who, as we mentioned, has not gotten things going lately offensively, and that will be a big loss down the stretch.
I think that was the tale of the tape so far for George Mason, is that Pearson needed someone else on the inside to come along with him, to have a presence, to give him that support, to have his back. And tonight, I just thought that Mike Morrison just didn't have it going. He just couldn't find the rhythm offensively or defensively. If you're not scoring the ball, be a presence defensively, get on the boards, do the little things.
So now Paul Hewitt watches as Briante Weber, an 80% free throw shooter, goes to the line for a pair. You watch the interesting trigger mechanism Briante Weber has. Keep an eye on his right arm, almost like a guy who kind of gets his golf swing started. Watch it swing out to the right and back. And it sure does look nice.
Everybody has their own routine, and his routine is working.
And it gives VCU a 5-point lead. Allen down the middle. The floater is short. Pearson looks for a three. Got it!
Big-time players make big-time plays, and they're making them on both ends, Al.
He has not done that all night long, but he's got 24 points now with his first three-pointer of the evening, and just like that, it's a two-point ball game.
See, again, you know, he hadn't shot well from behind the arc all game long, but that doesn't matter. Your players make plays. Your senior, your potential player of the year in the conference. This is a big-time shot. It was a broken play. He knocked it down, Al.
And that is set up because he's so good at those head fakes. And you watch the defense has got to respect him. Weber didn't want to go too deep on him, and Pearson made him pay.
Well, what happened, Weber didn't know whether he was going to put the ball on the floor and drive or go by him. And that's what makes Pearson so valuable, is he can score in a lot of different ways. You know, he's not a one-dimensional ball player. And then once he puts it on the floor, he has the ability to even find guys off the dribble. So, you know, he's one of those guys that's a dangerous threat on the floor, and his numbers show it.
His 11th double-double of the year. Here's what remains for George Mason. A bracket buster game ahead with Lamar here at home on Senior Day. And then the road difficult at Northeastern. And watch out, at VCU on February 25th, another nationally televised game that could decide who is the #1 seed come conference tournament time.
It's getting tight, Al. It's getting tight across the country. This is the time of year where, you know, you try to make your push. You try to turn it up just a bit. You try to separate yourself in some kind of way. A lot of mid-major schools are trying to do all they can to show the selection committee that we potentially may deserve an at-large bid.
Paul Hewitt finding out just how tough this CAA is in his first year. 3 20-plus win teams at the top of the conference. Old Dominion could possibly join them. Here's the pressure. VCU breaks the trap and a foul. They fouled Daniels. The foul is committed by Sherrod Wright and sends Troy Daniels, a 78% free throw shooter, to the line.
What Mason didn't want to do is let a lot of time go off the clock. They wanted to try to foul as soon as they can because they know they're going to need at least 2 possessions to get back in this game or to go up in this game. So they didn't want to allow VCU to work the ball around the horn.
See the nice night Daniels is having. This is his first free throw of the year. And down the stretch, VCU doing a great job at the stripe. Both teams are 69% shooters from the free throw line as a team. But these VCU players seem to really bear down when it means the most. And again, Daniels makes it a 2-possession ball game with a couple of clutch free throws for his 12th and 13th points of the night.
Right now, if you're VCU, stay solid, don't gamble, make George Mason shoot over the top, don't give him driving opportunities.
Quickly putting it up and hitting is Vaughn Gray. How about that from the freshman? It's back to a 1-point contest. Or did they only give him a 2 for it? I guess they gave him a 2. We're getting the officials now talking to each other. So I thought maybe Gray got the 3. It is a 2. It is a 2-point deficit for George Mason. You take another look.
This is his foot on the line. No, he gets in the pocket. It's definitely a 2.
So Weber, after he was quickly fouled, another chance for the 80% free throw shooter. All of Weber's damage tonight from the free throw line. Another two-possession game. Allen finds Vaughn. Got it again. Bertrand Vaughn's one-point game with 4.2 left.
Paul Hewitt calling for a foul, trying to get his guys' attention.
They thought they got the steal, but Roger Ayers gets the whistle in before it. There'll be 3.8 seconds for Mason to work. The question is, will it be a 1, a 2, or a 3-point game? Did they get the steal before the whistle? They say Vaughn's reached in on Weber before Pearson could come up with the steal.
Close. That was a close one now. Again, right now, this point in time in the game, on both ends of the court, everything you've worked on throughout the year in practice comes into play as Weber misses. Late game situations offensively, late game situations defensively.
There's where the pressure starts to build. It will be no worse than a 2-point game with 3.8 left. Weber makes it that way. Paul Hewitt can't call timeout. None left. Pearson triggers to Sherrod Wright. Across half court. Pulls up for the three. And the win! He hit the win! Mason at the buzzer gets the win from Sherrod Wright.
Unbelievable, Al. Unbelievable.
The celebration going down right in front of us as Sherrod Wright beats the shot clock buzzer, ends the game with a three that gives Mason the come-from-behind win for Paul Hewitt as he ends the 11-game win streak of Shaka Smart and VCU. This will be reviewed, but we think it counts as Ryan Pearson, Mike Morrison can't believe how this game is ending.
You gotta love it. You can't relax, Al. Wright pulls up, gets a great look at the basket. Nothing but the bottom of the net.
Now we'll try and take another look and look at the backboard. Are the lights on? No, that is a clean release and nothing but net.
And that was good defense by VCU, but an even better shot by George Mason.
We believe the bucket will count. Ryan Pearson feels it as well. Let's take one final look. Brandenburg was in his face, didn't want to foul, but Sherrod Wright, who we talked about at the top of the show, coming in off a 16-point performance, who was going to help Ryan Pearson? The final help came from Sherrod Wright.
And it couldn't have come at a better time. All night long, Pearson kept trying to find that other guy that could come along for the ride with him, and it couldn't have come at a better time. Excellent shot that time by Sherrod Wright to close this one out.
And there were 3 threes by George Mason in the last 30 seconds. Pearson hit one, Vaughn hit one, and the game ender from Sherrod Wright.
The officials are still taking a look at it. They want to see if it's good. It's definitely good. It's definitely a three. Al, this one's over.
Paul Hewitt talked about what a wild ending it could be. It could be a loose ball, a scramble, a crazy play. This one defies the odds. 3.8 seconds left. Mason gets the ball inbound. Sherrod Wright brings it across half court and buries the game-winning three. And what a fitting conclusion to one of the best games of the season in the CAA. We'll be back to wrap it all up from Fairfax, Virginia, after this.
At VCU, there's so many opportunities you can take.
What a finish here in Virginia. George Mason gets it done at the buzzer, 62-61. And Ron Thompson, this is worth one final look.
You couldn't ask for a better play. I'm sure Paul Hewitt drew it up exactly like this. It was good defense by VCU, but an even better shot. You see Wright goes the length of the floor. The shot gets contested, an excellent contest by Rob Brandenburg, but he hits nothing but the bottom of the net, and the fans go crazy. Excellent way to close out and potentially be in first place in the CAA.
Well, what a great way to finish. And for my partner, Ron Thompson, I'm Al Koken saying good night for the campus of George Mason University, where in an unbelievable finish, the Patriots win it 62-61 over VCU. Be sure to join us for our next CAA basketball telecast Saturday, February 25th, when the Drexel Dragons travel to Old Dominion to take on the Monarchs at 4 p.m. on Comcast Sportsnet.